Hey guys, hi, welcome back. Once again, my name is Vaishali, and today I'd like to talk about feeling lonely or being alone. Now, in the recent few years, we have been hearing a lot about the loneliness epidemic, which kind of seems like the pandemic that has recently spread across the entire world. And the question to ponder upon is that despite having close to 8 million people, 8 million human beings, why do we still feel lonely? Why are so many people still feeling lonely? And then, on the other hand, is the aspect of being alone or choosing solitude. Now, one is an enforced solitude wherein we kind of start to feel lonely, and one is a solitude that one chooses for themselves at that point in time. While one focuses on the aspect of one choosing to be alone, the other focuses on the aspect wherein one is forced to feel alone. And when I say alone in the second half of the sentence, it means alone. And however we hear of the word alone, it kind of sounds more like a liability. It kind of sounds more like a debt which one doesn't want to carry forward. While being alone is a choice that one makes for themselves at that point in time wherein they want to be all by themselves, the other is feeling of abandonment wherein nobody essentially wants to be with them. Probably they even do not desire to be with themselves. And it somewhere also highlights the narrative that we as humans have been told that we are such social creatures that we essentially cannot be with our own selves. We cannot choose to be with our own selves even for a brief point in time. The more I looked into these two aspects, I realized that alone, when I looked into the root word of it, it actually meant all one, which in itself says quite a lot about choosing to be with one's own self. On the other hand, I also came across this notion that one can be in a crowded room, one can be with as many people as possible and still feel alone, still feel left out, still feel a misfit, still feel not belonged. And if we resonate with all of the implications that imply that one essentially feels unheard, unseen, and therefore non-existent. If we resonate with all of the implications through that narrative, we'll understand that if the person feels unheard, if the person feels unseen, the existence, the existential matter of the person comes into question. The person just might begin to question, do I really matter if I am so unseen, if I am so unheard? And that is probably not the place any human desires to be in. And then the next question that came into my head was, is it a recent pandemic? Is it a recent event? Or has it always existed, but probably it was never addressed? Probably it was so obvious that it kind of got pushed aside. And what I mean by that when I say that is that if we look into our history, the history of evolution of mankind, we will understand that probably man has firstly never lived a life as long as we are living today on an average. Second of all, in the history of man's evolution, we kind of always lived in tribes. Now those tribes can be big families or big communities or big social networks. And if we can address the same thing through a movie Badrinath Ki Dulhaniya, we would see the same paradigms being played out. So in this movie, there are two kinds of families that are portrayed. One is a joint family wherein a lot many more people stay within the same household. And one is a nuclear family comprising only of 4 members. In one family, we will find that there is one particular individual who decides for the entire family. Every decision that is taken by every family member has to be in accordance or through approval of this particular person. And therefore, to maintain the bigger harmony of the bigger tribe, a lot of people do not express themselves. They probably only express themselves in the dark of the night, wherein nobody actually sees them. While on the other hand, since it's a nuclear family, most members have an opinion of their own and they express it quite freely. Now that's not to say that even in this nuclear family all the emotions are expressed, but yes, they are more openly expressed and addressed when compared to the other family. And when they go unheard and the person feels unseen, they decide to take charge of their lives in their own hands. They decide to take a leap of faith and literally run away from their own family. And probably that can be a risky proposition if one is not aware of where they want to be, where they want to grow, and how they want to grow. Thankfully enough, since most stories have to end on a good note, happy ever after, we see that this person has not only achieved their goals, but they have also got a sense of self-awareness which comes through standing for their own self, whatever the self might be at that point in time. You can look up my video titled Knowing Thyself in order to understand the self better. Now, on the other hand, we'll see that when the bigger collective is into the picture, the individual probably gets limited chance to individuate their own selves. And in the other dynamic, we'll see that a lot of people have probably always felt unseen and unheard, and therefore their substance probably did not matter as much as it should have on the individual level. So on one hand, we see that one person decides to take a leap of faith, decides to risk their own selves to know themselves better, to know their values better. They probably had to choose being alone with themselves for themselves. While on the other hand, we may notice that a lot of people are surrounded by a lot of people, but they essentially almost always feel lonely. And so when I said, is this a new thing? Has it not always existed? We probably will realize that in the history of human evolution, probably this has been recently discovered, but it has always existed. Because if we lived in tribes that were bigger and larger, it truly is worthwhile to ask, is every member of the bigger tribe being heard and being seen? Is it really possible to engage with every member of the tribe on an individual level? So then should we not look into all of these parameters? Should we then not question, how is it possible that there are probably 8 billions of us and yet loneliness is an epidemic? Let's reflect a little on that, on those narratives that helps connect our stories together, both on individual and collective societal levels. And I will see you once again the next week. Till then, stay tuned in. And guys, if you do like the contents of my videos, please do like, share, and subscribe.